Hi everyone, Tony here from Somerset Casual, your leading patio furniture manufacturer. This is part 2 of the installation of the burner. I try to break it down in 2 videos to try to keep it simple for you so we can able to follow. Now, we have already covered how to fire test and operate the burner. At this point, the rest is pretty easy. What we want to do is first take our burner, drop down our regulator hose in there, and then sit our burner into the pan so you know. Okay? So we'll set that into our table. Make sure, and let me cover this, make sure you look underneath here, and what you want to do is you want to rotate your pan so your control box is in the front. Now, once that's done, okay, we'll go back and we'll hook up our regulator again to our propane tank. Okay, remember how I said we'll do 3 fingers here? Okay, tighten that on, make sure it's nice and snug, okay? And then at that point, we can, to do it, this would be your fuel control valve. Now, before we push everything back together, we want to make sure everything's working okay. So, at this point, I'm going to grab our ice, and at this point, we're going to use some fire ice. I know a lot of people use different products inside. Okay? It's very important when you fill the burner with the ice, you fill the pan, and you can go lightly over the burner. But you cannot cover the air intake, because what this part does here, it brings air into the system to mix with the fuel that allows it to light. If you cover this completely, you're not going to be able to spark or light because it has no air to draw from. So I'm going to go ahead and pour this in there. Okay, then what I will do, okay, put that over there. I'm going to spread out my ice. Now, look what I'm doing. I'm clearing the area here. So I'm going to put my ice in over here. Okay, I can still lightly cover my burner. I'm okay there. Okay, but right here, this has to be clear. This area has to be clear in order to pull oxygen in there to mix with your burner. Okay. Now, once that's all done, now you're ready to fire test your burner, okay? And if you had a little more, you can fill this up a little bit, but remember, you can fill this up, but don't cover this too much with the burner. So you lightly cover it, you have your air intake right there. Now, let's go back here. Now we know we've turned our valve on counterclockwise, and now we're gonna go ahead and light it. So, we go inside. Here, we push in the knob, like I said, quarter of a turn, and then we turn it. Once the fuel's on, we light the burner. Now, once it's lit, at that point, we keep it pushed in, slowly turn, release the valve. From that point, we can control our flame all the way up high, or all the way down. What I always recommend, about halfway, or down to the low position for a little ambient heat. Now, once it's lit and you're done for the evening, go back in, push your knob in, all the way in, turn it clockwise, allowing all your fuel to drain, release it. Then what I highly recommend is go back to your propane tank, turn your control valve off, just in case there's any fuel leaking out or you didn't have it all the way tight. That way that control valve is off and there's no fuel being wasted when you're not using it. Again, your propane tank would be underneath right there, and then you'd have your door closed and everything's good to go there. That is the installation. So what we've covered in 2 parts here, we covered the burner itself, we covered fire test it first, double check all your lines to make sure your propane tank is working okay and your regulator. We then installed in the part 2, we installed the burner into the table. We showed you how to properly install your rocks, your lava rocks, your ice, making sure you do not cover the air intake to allow it to breathe naturally. And then we fire tested it again to make sure it works and showed how it lights from low to high. Thank you for visiting us here at Somerset Casual. We'll try to upload more videos, and if you have any questions, feel free to email those to info@somersetcasual.com.